Welcome to what should be a very fun video to look back on and have a laugh at. So in today's one, we're going to be taking a look at our Premier League predictions from the start of the season, of course, and seeing how we did. So if you do enjoy this video, please go ahead and drop a like on this one. That would be much appreciated, and subscribe to the channel as per usual. Thank you for all of the love. But let's go. So before we crack on with the reaction to the predictions, I just want to say thank you to everyone who entered the Fantasy Premier League, and I want to say congratulations to the winner. Let's go ahead and have a look who won it. Oh wait, it was me.
I say right foot creep, walking with that heater.
But it was a very close title race. So thank you to everyone who joined in. We've got Mirkar, Isaac, Limburg, Tommy, Kane, Martin, Dylan, Jamie, and Ari that rounded out the top 10 there. So thank you all so much for joining. We had how many members in here? We had 31. Of course, I'll run it again for next season. So if you want to join that, I'll make a link and stuff, and I will include it when, of course, the new one is up to date. So I won by 10 points in the end. Very close. He almost caught me in this last game. He had a very good week, clearly. He got 69. I only had there 52. So nearly caught me. But, of course, he ran out of time. And we take the dub, baby. But enough gloating. Let's move on to our Premier League predictions. As you can see there, that man on your screen is about to make himself look like an absolute dumbass. Let's crack on. There's going to be some howlers in this. Back to a very special video. It is my Premier League predictions video. We do this each year. We love Premier League predictions, baby. Spot on every single year. Spot on every single year. So, yeah, let's see. So let's start then with the relegation battle. I'm pretty sure I actually did get this one spot on. Maybe not the places, but the three who came up all went back down. I believe I predicted that. And I think that was fairly obvious, to be fair. Let's have a quick look then. As you can see, yeah, Leicester, Southampton, and
to survive in the Premier League. I'm kind of just the theme right now, isn't it? They come up, they go straight back down. I think
that's exactly right. They come up, they go straight back down. And I to be honest with you, for my next prediction video, it probably is just going to be the same thing. I feel it's like it's very hard for these teams that come up to compete with the amount of money that's already in the Premier League, with these teams that are now established staples in the league. You know, they've got all the money, they can buy better players. It's just very hard to compete. So let's move on then to the lower mid-table. Oh, I can already see there's a howler. Oh dear. So we've got ourselves Brentford, Bournemouth, Forest, Wolves, and Everton.
I'm a dumbass.
Now, I will just say, I did get Everton spot on. So, you know, bit of credit.
Shut your damn mouth.
So, Hudson-Odoi, you had Gibbs White, Alanga, all firing on all cylinders. And if they can continue that into next season, they could do very well. But I've got them fairly low.
There you go. Look, I did say I thought that all of the players had a good end to the season for Forest, and that they could have a very good season. That is a terrible freeze frame for me there. And that they could do good things. Obviously, I never would have thought that they'd be, you know, top four all the way, essentially. And then they ended up coming in 7th, which is still a great finish for them. They managed to get the Conference League. So shout out to Forest. Fantastic season. I wonder if Nuno's actually going to go or not. Will be interested to see. He definitely doesn't deserve that if he does go. Also severely underestimated Brentford and Bournemouth. I believe in the video I said I thought that the selling of Ivan Toney was going to be a big hindrance to them. However, Vissa and Mbeumo, fantastic seasons for the pair of them. I think they both just got near 20. I think Wissa got 19 Premier League goals, which is unbelievable, and he doesn't even take penalties. And Mbeumo had a great year as well. They did really good, Brentford. And Bournemouth, again, also had a nice season. Got some fantastic players. So, yeah. See what we've got to say about the higher mid-table, 12th to 8th. Let's go then.
To 8th. Now we've got Brighton, Fulham,
Brighton in 12th, right? Where did they finish? 8th. So, again, I feel like I underestimate Brighton.
Chelsea
every single year. Always seem to do a lot better than I predict. So maybe next year I need to go higher. It's just they seem to sell, but they always do well. Fulham I had in 11th. Great shout. I got that one bang on. So, you know what? Sometimes I can get it, you know? It's like a broken clock. It's always going to be right at least one time a day. Palace, I put them in 10th, which is not far off. They came 12th again. It seems like they finish 12th every year, but they did manage to win the FA Cup. So shout out to them. That was a huge win. We had Chelsea in 9th.
I prefer really not to speak.
So let's see what I had to say then about Chelsea. Why did I put them in 9th?
I've got them in 9th. Now, this might be controversial. Some people might disagree with me, but I think it's just too much of a mismatch for me. I'm not sure how well this new manager is going to do. They haven't done that well in pre-season, and I think they needed a focal point up front, a true out-and-out number 9. For example, Victor Osimhen, who I think multiple teams could have looked at in this window. I think
So to be fair, I said they needed a true striker. Nico Jackson is not bad. Like he helps the team out in multiple different ways. But I think as an out and out striker, like I said, a proper scorer, maybe they do even better. But they did manage to get Champions League football in the end. I think they came fourth, didn't they, Chelsea? So much better than I predicted. So yeah, fair play to them. Good job. And then in eighth, we had West Ham. I mean, they had a pretty poor season. You know, I thought, like I say here, the signings they made
are great signings.
Were all pretty damn good. I mean, Fulkrug, you know, he came off the back of a great Euros, I believe it was, a great Euros campaign. He just had a lot of injuries. Todibo, he was highly touted. United were looking at him for a lot of time as well. You know, Somerville, I don't think he actually played that much for West Ham, did I? Could be wrong on that. He looked like a really good player for Leeds. And then the other one, Wan-Bissaka, he actually had a really good season for West Ham. He was a good signing for them. So, yeah, I thought with the signings they made, you know, and how well they did last year, you know, they did fairly decent last year, didn't they? I thought they were going to do better than they did. They had, you know, a much below par season for them, really. Maybe now Potter, with, you know, the ability to have a full season under his belt, he's going to do all right now. And in seventh, I had Newcastle. So let's see what I said about that then.
Also, I think have, you know, established themselves as the top 7 asset.
Yeah,
you know,
they have definitely. Very good team now.
I think Isaac is a sensational striker.
Very good player. And he, again, had a very, very good year. I believe he was 3rd top goal scorer. Fantastic striker. And if Newcastle can keep hold of him again next season, I think they'll do well. And if he can stay fit as well. He did, to be fair, stay fit most of the season. He did have a couple injuries, I believe, but for the most part, he was fit and available and he was banging goals. And then as you can see, we went in the 6th position, got this one bang on. Aston Villa. Now, you can say they were very, very unlucky. Final day. You would have expected them to beat Manchester United, of course, with how bad of a season they had. You can notice, by the way, they are yet to come up. But the incident where Rodgers tackled Bayinda, the ball wasn't really in his hands. It should have been a goal. And if they go 1-0 up, they basically secured Champions League football. So they basically have been robbed. But did they play that well in the game? Not really. So I do feel bad for them, but there's nothing that can happen now, is there? It's not going to get overturned or anything like that. It's a rule book issue, in my opinion. And then in 5th position, this one I got absolutely terribly wrong.
No, maybe
let's have a look.
Push on for 4th.
Let's have a look then, come on.
5th position, I've got Tottenham Hotspurs. Now, I do think
Tottenham in 5th. I thought they were going to have a good... Well, actually, technically, they did have a good year, but not in the Premier League. So what did I say?
Season under Ange
Come on,
Postecoglou.
under Ange's second year and that.
In a row. I underrated them a lot last season. I did.
Yeah, I put them quite low last year.
Losing
and this year I put them higher.
They surprised me how this season, I love the signing of Dominic Solanke. I think he's
Dominic Solanke didn't really do much, did he? Let's be real. I thought he was going to do a lot better than he did, to be honest. I think he did have injuries. Even when he did play, he didn't really score that many goals. Let me have a look at how many goals he actually got. In the Premier League, Dominic Solanke got 9 goals. That, you know what, for the money that they paid, it's not acceptable. He did play 27 out of the 38 games. So to be honest with you, it's more than enough games to get at least, you know, 15, 16. You know, with the likes of Chris Wood is banging in near 20 goals. It's not acceptable.
So yeah, I like Tottenham's chances. I think they're going to do well. They could even push for 4th. Speaking of 4th,
but let's have a look who I said is going to get into the top 4.
Speaking of 4th, I have Manchester United.
Man United. Man United in 4th. I mean, come on, guys. Who would have predicted us to have that shit of a season? 15th. 15th. Criminal. Absolute criminal scenes. And I'm not even going to talk about the Europa League final. We'll get into that in a second. Just an abysmal performance in this season. And I'm so glad that the season's over.
United coming in the 4th position, getting that final Champions League spot. Now, I think the signings they've made so far are very smart. The likes of
let's have a look then.
Mazraoui,
De Ligt, I think they're both good signings. De Ligt, he's had his issues with injuries, which is the only issue, but I think he's a good centre-back. Mazraoui has been non-stop in the side, consistent, doesn't get injured, always plays. I rate it, and for a good price as well. So I have no issues with the signings. Yoro, fantastic centre-back. Young was learning his craft, and I think he's destined for big things. I can't see him staying at Manchester United for that long if we continue to be dog shit. He's going to be on the up.
Xerxes so far.
And you know what, Xerxes, he had a rough start, I'm going to be honest, but I think he's turned it around. You know, he's not going to be a prolific goal scorer, but he's someone that can link up the play, good touches, decent on the ball. He's just not an out-and-out proper goal scorer, which is what we really needed and we lacked this year.
But I do think they need not what they should.
But enough talking about Man United. Let's move on to third. In third, we have, let's have a look.
On to third position, I've got Arne Slot's Liverpool. Now,
Arne Slot's Liverpool, okay.
Arne Slot's Liverpool side.
So I did go on to say this.
And they can continue
Let's have a look. Let's have a look.
Next season. I think Liverpool are going to have a very good season. I do think they can push all the way. Whether there'll be enough for...
I do think they can push all the way. And you know what? They were by far the best team in the league. And yeah, fair play to them. Obviously not a nice thing to see Liverpool win the league, but were truly deserving on it. And I think with the moves that they're already making, they're going to be a strong, strong contender to win it again next year. Like the Frimpong, Kerkez, Florian Wirtz. I mean, come on. They're making big moves this summer, Liverpool. Let's move on then. Who did I have in second and who did I have in first? I think it's probably fairly obvious who I went with there. But I went Arsenal in second, which of course they did finish in second once again. And Man City, who I believe came in third in the end, which is for them a bit of a fall off. They definitely had a bad year by their standards. And I do think that maybe next year is going to be the challenge for them. A lot of their players are aging. They're going to have to make some big moves in the summer. Are they going to do well next season? We're going to find out. Hopefully they don't. Hopefully they absolutely stink the gaff out. Pep gets sacked and all hell breaks loose for them. But who knows? Pep's the top manager and they're going to spend a lot of money. Yeah, that is the full rundown. Absolutely abysmal predictions. Got a few right, most of them wrong. That's just the way it is. So let's move on quickly to the Premier League top scorer prediction and whatnot. Let's have a quick look. Where is it going to be?
Let's talk about the other predictions. So for top scorer, I'm going to go with an outfield shout. You guys probably won't think I'm going to go with it.
Going to be a big one. Who's it going to be then?
I'm going to go with Erling Haaland.
Erling Haaland, right. So he had a few injuries and unfortunately for him, didn't get the back-to-back top scorers. And when Mo Salah performed as he did, it was always going to be tough anyway. I believe he ended as second or third top scorer. I think he got 22 or 23 Premier League goals. So not a bad year at all. But yeah, he didn't hit the heights that he did the prior season. I also as the second shout, I believe I went with Alexander Isak. So in second,
I'm going to go with Alexander Isak. I think
Alexander Isak can have a phenomenal season. Yeah, and that was pretty spot on. He did actually come second, I believe. It was Salah and then Alexander Isak. So I got that pretty spot on, you know. Alexander Isak, second top scorer. Only one I didn't get right, of course, I put in Erling Haaland as the top scorer. So for player of the season, let's have a look who I went with.
Alexander Isak.
Alexander Isak. I mean, to be fair, it's not a bad shout, is it? He's definitely one of the best players this season, I think, anyway. But it was, of course, it's got to be Mo Salah that has got the MVP. I believe I also did some more predictions. FA Cup, Carabao Cup, Europa League, Champions League, and Conference League, I think. Let's quickly go through it.
Move on to the domestic cups. I think for the FA Cup, I think I'm going to go with Arsenal.
Arsenal, terrible. And they got knocked out by Manchester United. So, yeah, not great for Arsenal, really. For the Carabao Cup, who do we go with?
With Tottenham Hotspur to finally get a cup again. And I'm going to go with them to win the Carabao Cup. I don't know why. I do think they're going to win something this season. And I think the Carabao...
I do think they're going to win something this season. They haven't done it in a long time. I said they were going to do it and said they were going to do it. And unfortunately, they did it at the expense of Manchester United in the Europa League. But you know what? It's not the Carabao Cup, but I did say they were going to win something. Give me that, surely. On to the Champions League then.
Sweet, I think Real
Madrid, I went pretty boring, I think. Yeah, I went Real Madrid. Aura of the players that they have, it kind of it's so star-studded, isn't it? I think that kind of drew me in, especially signing Mbappe. But I think they needed time to gel. And this season is that, of course. You know, they didn't really work out too well. Didn't win La Liga, didn't do anything. And, of course, got knocked out by Arsenal. So, by their standards, not a good season. I think they'll be back next year, though. But Barcelona look really, really good. And, of course, in the Champions League, we've got Inter and Paris Saint-Germain. Leave your predictions, by the way, for that in the comment section down below. Who do you think is going to win? PSG or Inter? So on to the Europa League. Who did we go with?
Europa League, I'm going to go with Manchester United. Maybe a little bit...
Of course I did. Manchester United. And I was so close to getting it right. But they shit themselves in the final. What an abysmal performance it was as well. Absolutely awful. Like, they just... It's like no one turned up. It was so bad. So bad. Ange just essentially said, attack us, see if you can score a goal. United said, no thank you. Let's just keep crossing it to the centre-backs. Just the worst performance ever. One of the worst European finals you'll ever watch, if you did watch it. So bad. Nearly got it right. Unfortunately, I didn't. And to end it off, the Europa Conference League. Who did I go with?
Who's in there? But I'm going to go with, I think Fiorentina are in there.
Fiorentina is who I went with. I think they got knocked out in the semis by Antony's Real Betis. So the final, of course, is Chelsea and Real Betis. Who do you think is going to win that as well? Let me know in the comment section down below. But yeah, that is going to be the full rundown. I don't think there's anything else in there. There is not. So those were my Premier League predictions. Some of them absolutely awful. Some of them not so bad though, to be fair. And I did say that Tottenham will win something in the second year. So I'll take that as a big dub. But that is going to be the end of the video. I will have another Premier League predictions, of course, coming up in the summertime when all the transfers and that are done as well. But that is going to be the end of the video. I'll catch you beautiful with another one very, very soon. Peace out.